We're losing him.
I'm so glad you survived, Oliver.
Thank you. Me too. We're gonna have a Zoom party
Wow.
that is with no precedent.
Man, you're good, Doc.
Well, come on. The rave was a little hint, right?
So, Oliver, Chicago Med's Dr. Charles almost died. What was your reaction to his health crisis and his subsequent survival? But things were dicey for a while.
You can imagine I was deeply relieved that I survived this ordeal. But let me just tell you, there is a lot of story left to tell. There's how many things? Like 4 episodes, the drama that's centered on Dr. Charles might dissipate a tiny bit.
Mhm.
There is still, trust me, plenty of drama left for him in terms of his place at the hospital.
I think he was not at peace before this health crisis. And then, like it is for so many people, it kind of clarifies and elucidates everything. And what he's, decides very quickly is he wants to stay at Gaffney. And there is a big threat to his job, from Dr. Theo Ribari coming up. I won't go into too many details about that, but that's been a conflict we've been setting up the whole season.
There is a tremendous amount of potential in this tech. And I would love nothing more than to continue my research right here at Gaffney.
In episode 17, he experiences a lot of flashbacks.
They are flashbacks of sort, but they're sort of, they're
mixing with like the
somewhat
present.
hallucinogenic. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The one I wanted to do the most was him finding his father and his father living, that wish fulfillment of, he spent his life wishing he'd gotten there earlier. And in the dream he does, but then it starts going backwards.
Honestly, at that moment, that's when I thought he was going to die. For real. The whole episode, I was like, they won't. They will.
You know what the secret is? Having Oliver Platt in the scene and playing the role. And I'm telling you, it's like Eldon Henson, who was in that scene, was fabulous as well. But this vision of seeing, guilt-ridden Charles sitting next to his father, who never lived to the age that Charles is now, his much younger father. It just was tremendously moving to see that conversation that he probably always wanted to have.
Eldon was fantastic. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Just be careful around this topic and you cut me some slack.
Oliver, Dr. Charles, throughout the 2 episodes, had been pushing people away, specifically his daughter and Goodwin.
I'm worried about you. This is not like my friend.
Yeah, well, right back at you. Maybe your friend doesn't like being called a liar.
What kind of was the relationship between his poor mental health, his deteriorating relationships, and then his poor physical health? And did he sense this stroke coming, and was he trying to save his loved ones from this tragedy?
No, I don't think he knew that it was coming. I think that what makes the writing so skillful is it's sort of this perfect storm of these two things kind of feeding on each other, right? And listen, a lot of strokes can absolutely be triggered by intense anxiety, right, and stress. I think that what's so great about the first scene, the teaser in the Book of Charles, which is, Charles is working as a suicide hotline worker to help him process his daughter's attempt at taking her own life earlier in the previous season. And, he has this long, intense call with this young man who he thinks that he's helping and he thinks that it's going okay, but then he makes what he decides in retrospect is a terrible mistake, and the kid hangs up on him.
Gio.
And the kid is, is in extremis when he gets on the line. He's very serious. What happens? He wakes up the next day and he's totally freaked out because he doesn't know what's happened to this kid, because you're not allowed to know as one of those workers. I mean, there's very strict protocols to sort of, there needs to be a firewall there, right, for everybody's mental health, and but he starts to kind of overcompensate, right? He starts to sort of go through the day and he goes, okay, well, I might not be able to save that guy, but I'm certainly going to save this guy, and he sort of breaks all his own rules, right? In terms of, on a normal day, Dr. Charles has got pretty good idea about what he can do and what he can't do, right? And about sort of ethics and what's appropriate, and he starts to break all his own rules, and it really gets away from him, and it ends up with this shouting match with his closest friend in the world, not just at the hospital.
You were just lying to me?
I have never lied to you. Never.
He literally starts to go, he can't believe it.
It's just building, building.
Building, and it just ends in a really dark place, and it ends with a nasty stroke,
So, Alan, you've also been teasing all season Dr. Charles possible retirement. For me, having a stroke of this magnitude, I'd never work another day in my life.
Dr. Charles is not someone who's that interested in retirement.
I find it depressing.
Yeah, but it could be your glorious third act.
So the question I don't think was ever, is he going to retire? It's like, what's he going to do with the whatever amount of time he has left? Is he going to stay at Gaffney and continue doing the good work he does here? Or is there like a new beginning for him, teaching at a medical school?
Are you kidding? We're the glue holding this thing together.
Damn right we are. You're damn right we are.